All right, if you're gearing up for your IGCSE maths exam, you are in the perfect spot. In this explainer, we're going to break down some seriously top-tier tips, straight from a principal examiner, designed to help you pump up that grade and walk into your exam feeling totally confident. Let's figure out what those examiners are really looking for.
So, first things first. Have you ever actually wondered what's going through an examiner's mind when they're looking at your paper? See, it's not just about getting that final answer right, it's about speaking the language of the exam, and we're about to teach you that language.
And listen, these aren't just any old tips. They come directly from Simon Bullock, who's been the principal examiner for Paper 4 for over 18 years. He's seen it all, he knows exactly where students trip up and lose marks, so what you're about to hear is basically pure gold. Okay, let's kick things off with the big ones, the universal rules. These are the things that apply to every single paper you sit. Nailing these is your first step to grabbing more marks right across the board.
Now, this slide looks pretty simple, right? Just the number 3. But I'm telling you, this is probably the single most important rule you need to remember. Unless a question specifically says something different, your answers have to be given to a minimum of 3 significant figures. It's a deal breaker, so you gotta burn this number into your brain.
So, let's talk about your exam day toolkit. Preparation is everything, right? This means doing those little pre-flight checks. Is your calculator in degree mode, not radian? Do you know which formulas are given and which ones you've got to have locked in your memory? Using the full number from your calculator in your working, these little things are what sets you up for a great result.
This right here is a perfect example of where easy marks just disappear. Look at that first one. To an examiner, a plus b divided by 2 means you're only dividing b by 2. If you want to divide the whole thing, you've got to use brackets or make that division line really long. Same deal with the square root. Make sure that little roof covers everything you mean to include. Tiny details, but they make a huge difference.
Okay, if you only take one thing away from this whole section, please let it be this. Show your working. I really can't say it enough. Examiners give marks for using the right method. That means even if you mess up a tiny calculation at the very end, you can still scoop up most of the marks for that question just by showing you knew how to tackle it.
All right, let's zoom in a bit. We're going to talk about the shorter answer papers now, Paper 1 and Paper 2. For these, it's all about being precise and really understanding those specific command words.
On Paper 1, think of the words in the question as little clues. If it says factorise, the examiner is looking for an answer with brackets. Simple. If it says estimate, your first thought should be to round everything to one significant figure before you start calculating. And if you see show all your working on a fraction question, that is your signal to put the calculator down. A right answer with no working scores a big fat 0.
Oh, and here is a classic trap that catches so many people out. Converting time. It's so easy to think that 30 minutes is 0.3, right? But just remember, there are 60 minutes in an hour, not 100. So to turn minutes into a decimal, you have to divide by 60. 30 minutes is half an hour, so that's 7.5 hours.
Paper 2. This one requires even more precision. When you're drawing or measuring, your margin for error is tiny. We're talking just 2 degrees for angles and 2 millimeters for lines. For bearings, you have to give 3 figures, so 78 degrees needs to be written as 078. And you've got to pay super close attention to the format for standard form. It has to be absolutely perfect.
Okay, on to the heavy hitters, Paper 3 and Paper 4. These are the longer papers where you can really build up a big score, but it takes a bit of strategy and a clear idea of how the questions are put together.
A really key thing to remember in these papers is that the questions are often linked together, like a chain. The answer you get in Part A is probably going to be needed for Part B or C. So if you get an answer that just seems totally crazy, like, a bus traveling at the speed of light, that's a massive red flag. It's a hint that you probably made a slip in an earlier part. Use that feeling to go back and double check.
You guessed it, we're back to showing your working. But trust me, on Paper 4, it is even more vital. Because you're writing your answers on separate paper, not right on the question sheet, the examiner needs to see your whole thought process laid out clearly. Without that clear working, even a perfect final answer might not get you all the marks.
This is it. This is what a full marks answer looks like for a transformation question. You can't just say rotation. No, for a rotation, you need 3 pieces of info: the center, the angle, and the direction. For a reflection, you need the equation of that mirror line. You should basically memorize this checklist because every single one of these points is a potential mark just waiting for you.
Okay, this is a question I bet a lot of you have. You've learned how to factorize, you've learned the big quadratic formula, But when on earth do you use which one? Well, believe it or not, the examiner actually leaves you a clue. And there it is. This is the insider tip. If the question specifically asks you to give an answer to 2 decimal places, that is a huge signal flag telling you to use the quadratic formula. If it doesn't say anything about accuracy, it'll almost always factorize nicely. It's like a secret code hidden right there in the question.
Whew, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's take all of this expert advice and boil it down into one final, powerful checklist you can use as you revise and right before you walk into that exam hall. Here you go, your 5 golden rules. Always aim for 3-figure accuracy. Always show you're working. Read the questions carefully to spot those hidden clues. Use the correct, precise mathematical notation. And for the love of math, double-check your calculator is in degree mode. Master these 5 and you are well on your way to maximizing every single mark.
So that's our deep dive into how an examiner thinks. The real question now is, what's next for you? Out of everything we've talked about, which one of these tips are you going to start practicing today to turn a potential mistake into a guaranteed mark? Thank you so much for watching. This explainer was brought to you by Fundoo Tutor. Fundoo Tutor is a personalized learning platform that helps students succeed in Cambridge, IB, and other international curriculums with expert mentorship, structured learning support, and engaging resources. Good luck with your exams.